As pre-service teachers, we had the opportunity to take 2 HB lessons with a grade 3-4 class from a northern Tasmanian school. Our lessons were developed around the game sense model of HB teaching.
Through using game sense, we allow students to develop their skills in a game-like setting. Game sense allows teachers to quickly identify what skills need to be developed further to improve gameplay. By incorporating skill movement drills, we can create a closed environment that allows emphasis on the practice of specific fundamental movement skills. This enables logical transition from drills that focus on these necessary skills and are directly transferred within a game situation.
Both of our lessons were essentially based around the skills and rules of basketball. Basketball is a sport that contains multiple fundamental motor skill requirements, such as passing, catching, shooting, and of course running. Focus inquiry.
The intended learning outcomes of our lessons were that students will be able to accurately throw a basketball to a teammate using correct chest passing and bounce passing techniques. Students will be able to work effectively in a team. Students will be able to adapt and apply developed skills to different game modifications and scenarios.
The success criteria for a basketball chest pass are eyes on the target, hold the ball with fingers spread and pointing to the receiver with your elbows in, step towards receiver, and lastly, release the ball by fully extending arms and fingers. Teaching inquiry.
Possession ball. The students are divided into 2 teams with a focus on each team member successfully touching the ball to score a point for their team. This encourages each student to participate in the game. The initial version of the game focused mainly on the students being able to effectively pass the ball between each other with no emphasis on dribbling as yet. Following the conclusion of the first possession game, we identified that the skill that needed improvement was the basketball chest pass.
Partner passing.
This drill is used following the first game to reinforce correct passing technique for the students by isolating the skill and focusing on extension of the elbow and fingers towards the target.
Dribble ball. The first variation of the possession game encourages students to concentrate on incorporating dribbling into the game to add another aspect.
After the completion of the second game, we established that the students needed further development of their passing skills while on the move and their overall dribbling technique.
Team dribble relays. In the dribbling relay, students remain in their teams and perform a relay between them by dribbling up to an indicated line and returning to their team to chest pass or bounce pass the ball to the next student. Hoop ball.
This game incorporates skills developed during all of the activities into a game-like scenario. In this instance, a hoop is added to create a more physical scoring element and develop secondary skills such as decision-making, problem-solving, and communication.
Advantages and disadvantages of game sense.
The game sense approach has many advantages and disadvantages when teaching. The game sense model provides an opportunity to participate for each student within a semi-competitive game environment. This allows students to transition skills learned during basic drills into games. Within these games, students are able to develop accompanying secondary skills such as problem-solving, communication, and decision-making skills. Although there are many advantages to the game sense approach, there are also disadvantages. In some scenarios, as we experienced, a larger game during a lesson can lead to a major drop in time on task as the less capable students are left out. Additionally, students may also struggle to transition their newly formed skills from basic activities into a larger scale game. If more students are struggling to transition these skills effectively, it can be hard to work on single students and their techniques whilst the game is still running and others are struggling as well.
Learning inquiry.
Following the first lesson, there were several things we both thought could be improved. Within the first class, there was an evident language barrier between us and some of the students. To counter this, we established that physical demonstrations by both us and the inclusion of the students would help to ascertain student understanding following given instructions. Secondly, there was a distinct lack of time on task within our first lesson, and this was a major issue that recurred between each of our activities. To improve this aspect of the lesson, we decided to divide our class in half, which served 2 purposes. Firstly, within smaller teams, students are each more accountable and thus should feel more inclined to participate. However, it is difficult to gauge whether the demonstrations were effective as the class groups were different in the 2 lessons.
Time on task is crucial, especially within the game sense approach. If students are simply unable to receive, hold or pass the ball, then they are unable to develop any of the necessary skills required to play the game successfully. As a result, students will not meet the intended learning outcomes. This teaching involvement has been invaluable as a pre-service teacher, as it has allowed us to both learn and gain practical experience. One thing that we can both agree on that carries massive importance is behaviour management. During both of our lessons, behaviour management took up a large amount of teaching time as students tested the boundaries. Without a foundation of classroom management strategies, a well-organised classroom environment cannot be developed, and teaching is simply not effective.